Deshaun Watson needs to throw the ball down the field. He needs to evade pressure. Like, there's a difference between Caleb Williams not being able to do it, or Jaden Daniels not being able to do it, or Bryce Young not being able to do it, and a guy that is making $230 million fully guaranteed and got his offensive coordinator fired last year, even though they made the playoffs. Okay. This cannot happen. It
Yeah.
cannot happen. And it's happening. And I don't know how, like week one, right? We're always gonna overreact. But Albert, there wasn't a moment until the very end of that football game, and you're just basically facing prevent defense where he didn't look lost.
I just don't know that we can't like I can't make excuses anymore. Like I just like it's like I can't deny what I'm looking at. It's what you're looking at is this is a team again that like went to the playoffs and won 11 games with five different starting quarterbacks last year. And like for as great a story as the Joe Flacco thing was, like Joe Flacco doesn't do that without a competent operation around him. No one could come off the couch and do that without a competent operation. And you just kind of put it all together, and it's like, I mean, it looks like he's lost his feel. You know what I mean? Like I know that's an abstract thing, but like he just looks lost out there. And I don't know how to put my finger on it. Maybe all the time away had an effect. But it just he does not look like remotely the same player, and they've done everything to try to get more out of him. I mean, this year it was Ken Dorsey coming in, who had worked with Josh Allen and had worked with Cam Newton, and had background in the Patriot system from having worked with Brian Daboll that Watson came in under, working with Billy O'Brien in Houston, and like nothing's working. There's talent on that team. That's a good roster. And I don't know, man. I mean, what he's got, how many years left? 2 years left after this one?
2 years after this one, yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
We're only
So
one game into this.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like what I would like to see, I don't know that we've seen this yet. I'd like for Deshaun Watson to stand up there and say, I sucked. That's what I'd like to see.
I'd like Deshaun
I'm
Watson to stand up and say a lot of things about what's happened over the last few years, but
yeah.
I don't think we're
But
coming
you know what
anywhere
I'm saying. But
close
you
to
know what I'm
that.
saying.
You know,
But you know what I'm saying. Like I think like there has to be some level of accountability here, and it feels to me like that's a really good team, a really competent operation too, right? Like we, I mean, for all we've made a lot of fun of the Browns over the years, right? And like for the first like 8 years of Jimmy Haslam's ownership, they deserved all of it. Like I actually think like the guys in charge are really competent now. Like Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, I think are really good at their jobs. And it feels to me like they're being held hostage by the player in the contract,
I
and
don't think you can separate Andrew Berry from Deshaun Watson.
yeah,
I think you
I know
can
what you're
separate
saying,
Kevin
but
Stefanski from Deshaun Watson, but Andrew Berry, I think, will always be counterweighted by the decision. That doesn't take away, I think, from the smart things that he's done. But you
you
know,
understand what I'm saying though,
I
right?
get, yeah, I mean,
Like
the
it's just
processes behind,
there's
right.
so much else that's been good, and you want to believe they do know what they're doing and they are doing the right things, and they've put blue chip players in that roster and they've drafted well. And I mean, like for the most part, like you see them, they go out on Sunday and it looks like a good team. I don't know, man. Like it's just, and what do you do? I mean,
Trade for
if
Joe Flacco,
turn to
get him back.
Jameis.
Will Brinson from CBS, who I love, had a funny, I
I mean,
guess, fun.
what would happen if Deshaun, seriously, like, let me ask you this. What would happen if Deshaun got hurt with like an MCL? I'm not wishing this on anybody,
No, 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 no.
but like, let's say there's like an MCL injury and he has to miss a month, and then Jameis comes in and lights it up. What do you do?
I mean, you can't go back, obviously. But so to Will's point, I mean, Will had tweeted this on Sunday, and I thought it was funny and kind of pressy. And he's like, I think we're about 2 weeks away from a phantom arm injury for Watson that just puts him out for the season because he knows the money's already in the bank, you
Or the
know?
press
And
release comes on Thursday on in like the comp in the like on Twitter, and it
yeah,
says it explains the injury.
yeah. And,
Has the doctor from the Cleveland Clinic having evaluated him?
It's just it's that bad. I mean, that's where we're at. And but you're
I
right.
just can't believe I can't believe we're here. I mean, he was so good. Like even that year, like where everything came apart in 2020, he was so good. And that was post contract too. You know what I mean? Like he had gotten the contract in Houston, and you remember like he was the one thing that they had. And I mean, it's just it's wild. Crazy, 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 crazy.
But to your point, I think that you can't go back. If you start winning again, you can't go back. And I think that there's a reason that Flacco isn't on this roster because I think
Yeah.
that there would have been how loud would the Joe Flacco chance have been on Sunday,
Because,
Albert?
and I've always made this point, like, you know, like I make this point a lot with rookie quarterbacks, right? Like 80% of your roster doesn't know who they're playing for next year. So they don't care about your 3 year plan, right? Like they don't care about your contract situations. They care about who's going to give me the best chance to go out and win a game on Sunday and play well on Sunday. So ultimately, I'm going to have a chance to extend my career and continue getting paid, right? And that's where you bring up like the situation like Watson, right? Like where or like Flacco, right? Like where those guys knew what Flacco could do, and would that be causing a problem right now if Flacco was there?
It would.
You know, so
Go get
I'm
that silver fox and bring him back to Cleveland. That's all I got to say.